Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm recapping episode 6 of Bridgerton. We are breezing right on through. We only have 2 more episodes to go after this one. So just want to pause to tell you guys thank you for going back over this series that we have all watched and talked to death. I just wanted to discuss it with you guys as a family because that's what I do on my channel or whatever. So thank you guys for joining me. Bit of a trigger warning before we get into this kind of controversial episode of the season. I am going to be discussing some things surrounding sexual assault and consent. So if you're sensitive to those topics, I promise I won't take it personally. If you just dip out right now, it's cool. I support you. So the Duke and the Duchess are married. They have arrived at their marital home in Cliveden. They have, you know, the Downton Abbey style staff, and they are full in the throes of, well, they're in full swing of their honeymoon phase. Daphne has finally discovered what the physical act of love is. She's like, I see why our mamas didn't really tell us about this child. This is the bees and leaves, honey. I mean, they're getting it in all over this house. And it's just like, Lord, I see what you're doing in the lives of others. Anyway, so the thing is, right? While we all have to suspend our belief in reality for a bit in order to really take in the innocence that Daphne possesses, because it's very hard for us to think in 2021 about even a teenager not knowing where babies come from, the biology of sex and all those things. If you can suspend your belief about what reality is for the briefest moment, it's almost kind of sweet initially, this innocence that she has over this newfound thing in life that like so many people have known about, and now she knows about it and she can, you know, get her jollies. That's cute at first. The other thing that's happening is that the Duke obviously left this home for a while, and a part of being a Duke or a Lord means that you own not only your castle, your house, your whatever, you also are responsible for all the people who live on the surrounding land, all of the villagers, all the townspeople, the people who aren't a part of the aristocracy. You are their landlord. So you are responsible for managing crops, managing livestock, for collecting rent and things of that nature. And when they get to Cliveden, they realize that the Duke's steward had not actually been taking care of things in his absence. So the rent went up triple, the books weren't really kept very well, the village people aren't doing very well at all. And upon their arrival, they decide that they are going to let the village, you know, townspeople have this annual fair that they have. So the head maid at this home is really not comfortable with Daphne's very kind and very modern way of doing things. She wants the staff to be able to take a day off to go and enjoy the fair. And from our perspective in 2021, it's like, hell yeah, give people a break. This housemaid, though, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Downton Abbey, but it's unheard of for the lady of the house to extend this kind of kindness to the staff. And, you know, Daphne has been trained for this. She's been brought up to be the wife of a very powerful and important man, and her mom has given her so many instructions about what it means to be a duchess and what it means to host and all these things like that. So I think that the head maid wanted her to be a little bit more teachable and wasn't comfortable with her just like doing things that she's capable of doing on her own. She can pick her own flowers. She can do, you know, things by herself. And they kind of, you know, butt heads. Daphne, of course, being well-intentioned white woman, they're at this fair. She doesn't want either of these, you know, pigs to be slaughtered, so she decides there is no winner. And this puts her out of favor also with the townspeople. So while her and her husband are just getting it in all over this house, the townspeople are not really here for her. This head maid is not really here for her. But she befriends this pregnant woman, this mother in the village. And Simon sees how good she is with this lady's kid. And, you know, they both kind of are trying to reassure each other, like, I'm okay without that, you know, and they're both just like, I was just thinking of you in that moment, and if you were okay, and, you know, they have made peace with their situation of we're going to be a couple that does not have kids. And even when Daphne sees the nursery, you can tell that there is some longing there, because she's one of those women who's always known she wanted to be a mom. And fortunately, I think that Daphne, when she has all of the information provided to her, can be a good communicator. So she goes to this woman who she's befriended in the village. You know, she goes to take baskets of, you know, honey and bread and things, and nobody is really seeing it for her. Like, they're like, girl, get the hell out of here. Obviously, she made a huge mistake by not selecting a winner of this pig contest, because that pig would feed, you know, the village people or the families or whatever for the season, and she didn't know that. So she's like, oh my God, you know, like, this woman is kind enough to explain to her like the error in her ways, and she's, you know, very like, oh well, darling, how could you know, whatever. Okay, cute. So they fix that, but we slowly start to see the responsibilities of being a duke, being a landowner, being responsible for the lives of these people is kind of starting to get to Simon a bit. He can't really be as attentive to Daphne in this moment. Some moments, like, as he's looking through the ledgers and like nothing is making sense, and why didn't they do this, and this could have been resolved this way. So slowly but surely things start to turn around for the village people. Anyway, things start to slowly turn around for them as Simon takes more of the reins back of managing these people's lives. And Daphne also sits down with like the head maid, who was also Simon's mom's head maid. And, you know, she explains to her, you know, I know I've made some missteps, but I really do appreciate your hard work, and I want to, you know, be good at this. And, you know, I'm open to your suggestions, and I'm open to these different things. And she and this maid start having some more in-depth conversations about Simon's upbringing, because when you look back at it, Simon has not been very forthcoming with her about the specifics of his upbringing. He's not been like very vulnerable. He's been quite withholding with her. So yes, they have this friendship, but there are certain areas where he just has not been vocal. And it was a different time. Maybe that's not what was expected of men during that time period, and during like the courting phase, which they didn't have a typical courting phase anyway. So Daphne learns from this head maid, who also was in service to his late mom, that the marriage between Simon's parents was not a happy one, that Simon's dad wanted an heir and his mom wanted a child. And so she starts to get these kinds of clues about how, you know, people were really unkind to the Duchess. Like, you know, people thought that it was her fault that she couldn't get pregnant, but you know, it's not just a woman who can be barren. You also need strong seed from a man. So Daphne, who has been having all this sex with her new husband all over this house, she keeps seeing him use the pull-out method, and she doesn't really fully know what he's doing. Daphne was under the impression that if he said he couldn't have kids, it meant that he couldn't have sex. So things aren't really adding up for her, and she doesn't really have anyone who can be honest with her about what specifically is happening here. So she's starting to kind of put the clues together, and they have sex this one like phenomenal time, and he just like aggressively pulls out. So she's just kind of like fed up with being in the dark about so many things, that she goes to Rose, who has been like, you know, her lady maid since she, you know, grew up or whatever. And she says, you know, Rose, tell me like straight talk, like, where do babies come from? Don't hold anything back. Don't try to be proper or polite. Like, what is the tea? So this is where things start to kind of take a turn in Daphne and the Duke's relationship. She's starting to be a little bit more distant as she's kind of trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Did he lie to me? What exactly does this mean? So push pin in that. Meanwhile, back in the ton, the Featherington household is just a hot steaming mess. Penn is being passive aggressive as hell with everybody, especially Marina Thompson, and nobody knows why. It's like, girl, why do you have an attitude? And basically, you know, Marina's plan is underway. Colin has announced to his family, much to their chagrin, that he has proposed to Marina. They're gonna be married. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Violet is pissed. Anthony is especially pissed off, but because Anthony really kind of it's weird because it's like, you don't want to be married either. So like, let people who do want to be married. Like, bugger off. But at the same time, Colin is the baby. So Violet is, on the one hand, like, this is a bit fast. And I haven't seen you show any especial, like, you haven't been especially interested in this girl compared to any of the other girls that you've been flirting with this season. So why her? And she's also just, you know, married off one of her other kids. So I don't think that she was also prepared for it. But the Featheringtons are glee ridden, you know, that they finally will have married at least one of the people they're responsible for off. And the thing is, by Marina making a good match, this would increase the chances that the other three girls would also make a good match. So, y'all know I have my notes, a lot to keep up with. Again, the Featheringtons are low-key kind of broke because Lord Featherington had gambled the girls' dowries away. He ain't got no money. So they need to go to the modiste to pick up their dresses. And Madame Delacroix is like, girl, if you pay me, like, I need my coin. I can't give you nothing until you run me my money. Here comes Marina, being very worldly. She's like, I never bothered to really ask you where your accent is from. Where exactly in France are you from? And basically tells her in French that unless you want me to blow up the spot about the fact that you are not actually a French, you know, fashion designer, you gonna make these dresses and you gonna give us what we need. So Madame Delacroix obliges. And at the same time, Eloise, who is just, I'm sorry, Eloise is draining. Eloise is possibly my least favorite character. Like, girl, we get it. Shut up. She's annoying as hell. Like, you know, you have to do what you have to do. You don't have a lot of choices. The least you can do is just shut the hell up because you can't actually change anything. So God, like, shut up. She's draining. But they have decided that it's time to lower her hems, meaning that she is to start dressing like a lady who is to be presented to society to be married off. And she doesn't want to, but she doesn't really have a choice. So it's just like, shut up. She's annoying the shit out of me. So the Bridgertons and the Featheringtons sit down to this dinner. You know, again, the plan is well underway. Colin is head over heels in love with Marina, and Marina and Lady Featherington both know that it's key that they get married really quickly before she starts showing. And so Penn tries to warn Colin that, like, Marina is in love with someone else, and Colin is very unmoved. He's like, I know her heart, we gonna do what we gonna do. And Marina convinces him that they should have a hasty wedding. There is a place in Scotland where they can go do it. And meanwhile, Penn also reveals to Marina that, like, her baby daddy did not disown her. He didn't throw her to the side. The letter was forged by her mom. So she's really trying to do everything that she can to break up this couple because she has caught on to the fact that, like, they're about to, like, run away together and elope. And it's just, it sucks because, you know, we know that Penn has this love for Colin, and she also just doesn't want to see him be taken advantage of, but this love is unrequited. And when she, you know, confronts Marina and she's just like, but, you know, Sir George didn't, what's that his name? Anywho, he didn't toss you to the side, like, he's still out there. And Marina's like, nothing changes, like, he still has not written me back. I still need a father for my child, like, back off. And it finally becomes clear to her, like, you're in love with him and I get it, and I'm really sorry that it hurts you and that I have to be the one to hurt you, but I have to do what I have to do for myself and for my child. And she's like, but what of Colin? And she's like, I have to have faith that I married a man who's good and kind, who won't put me out on the street. And the truth is, because Colin is just like this sweet summer child and comes from this good family, he probably actually wouldn't. He probably would really, like, keep her secret, to be honest. So this is devastating news for Penn, obviously. Let's see. Just making sure that I cover everything. Oh, I also wanted to say, based on what Simon's mom's maid said, I kind of wonder if Simon actually isn't the Duke of Hastings' child. If it, no one would have actually accused him of being the reason why they weren't getting pregnant. And I mean, I don't know that they could have like tested men for that back in the day, but what if she just went and got pregnant by somebody else just so that she could produce a child to get this man off her back, basically? It was just something about the wording of, you know, just the possibility that maybe it was actually the Duke and not the mom who was the issue with them getting pregnant. So I do kind of wonder if maybe that's not actually his kid. And yeah, again, I'm ready for season 2. I watched this way too fast. So basically, Pen is devastated, and you know, her and Eloise have been beefing. So she just runs to Eloise in tears, and next thing we know, Lady Whisteldown miraculously finds out about Marina Thompson, and just as they're about to elope that next morning, the Lady Whisteldown, you know, newsletter, blog report, tweet goes out, and Marina is exposed that she has been pregnant since she got here, and obviously everybody is shocked, but I think also kind of relieved too. That's how the episode ends, but let's take our push pin out of Daphne and the Duke. So let me say this. Again, we have to suspend our belief in reality and really immerse ourselves in this fantasy world where race is not the same issue in this world as it is in our world. This show is a fantasy. It's not a Game of Thrones or a Dungeons and Dragons level fantasy, but it's a fantasy nonetheless. Race is not a thing in this show. And I kind of, because of some of the discourse that happened about the end of this episode concerning the Duke and Daphne, I wonder if we as a collective, as an audience, are even prepared or able to watch something suspending that knowledge, right? Because again, it's very hard to watch anything not bringing your own trauma, your own baggage, your own personal experience into it. So Daphne needs to confirm that the Duke has lied to her. Now, if you want to know if someone has lied to you, you can't outright ask them if they've lied to you, because they will lie about the lie. She needs concrete confirmation that he deceived her and that he was telling the truth when he said that he trapped her in this marriage, because they both kind of deceived each other. Like, she, you know, made it seem like she was more in love with the prince than she was in order to kind of make him jealous and to, like, you know, pull him back in. She went into the garden knowing he would follow her. They both kind of set each other up, right? But she is now catching on to the fact that it's not that the Duke can't have kids, it's that he won't have kids. And that, you know, those semantics, it's like telling a half truth or telling a part of the truth or changing a single part of a word in order to, you know, say something that, but you aren't giving the full story. So Daphne, who has been distant, you know, for however long since she's had this conversation with Rose and kind of has a better idea of where babies come from, she basically creates a situation where the Duke can't pull out because she has sex with him while she's on top. Now, I rewatched the scene. The Duke doesn't try to push her off. He doesn't say no. He's in the middle of an orgasm that he doesn't stop, that he can't stop. And when she gets off of him, he's like, "What did you do?" And she's like, "So it's true." They have this, you know, back and forth about, you know, him lying to her, and he's like, "I didn't lie," you know, and like it's a blow up, you know, there's been this deception, right? What I want to discuss is the fact that I saw so many discussions on Twitter, or some discussions on Twitter, where people were saying that this was a rape scene. I've talked about this with several people, a couple of my guy friends, obviously a couple of my girlfriends, and to me, this is a gray area because Daphne has no actual knowledge. She's just now found out that this is where babies come from, but she needs to know, did you lie to me about your actual ability to have kids? And she can't get a straight answer out of him. So this was, in her mind, even though it was obviously deceptive, you know, she went in there with a plan, with an intention to confirm whether or not, you know, he was lying to her about his ability to have kids. There was some deception there. It was sneaky, but I can't say that it was rape because she did not fully know. And when people don't, she didn't have the full scope of things. And I saw people saying that, you know, we didn't perceive it to be rape because this is a white woman and we prioritize white women's desires over, you know, the safety or the protection of black men. I just don't think that that is what was happening in this instance. I think in 2021, if a woman sat on a dude and intentionally, you know, to intentionally make him ejaculate into her, knowing that that person didn't want to have a kid with her, that is rape. That's like the female equivalent of like stealthing, where you have taken away someone's choice about the kind of sex that they are willing to have with you. It's one thing to say, yes, I will have sex with you. It's another thing to say, yes, I will have this kind of sex with you, and then that other person makes a choice for you that you don't get to make. That's a lack of consent. If this had happened in 2021, that would 100% be rape. But again, this is a fantasy, fictional period piece where this girl does not know anything, and she's slowly coming to learn these things, but does not know how to apply the knowledge that she just got to her situation because she does not know or want to believe that Simon actually lied to her. So there's deception on both of their parts, but I'm not comfortable fully calling what she did a rape, knowing that she does not know much of anything. Like, her naivete is on a whole other level that I don't think we can even conceive of in 2021, which I think is reasonable. But I didn't see this as a white woman taking advantage of a black man. I didn't see this as a rape. I saw it as a very gray area, because had the Duke given her the full scope of information, she would not have done this. She didn't know. So that's my opinion on this. I think I was told that in the book, she got him drunk in order to do this. Now that, yes, that you intentionally took away his ability to consent. But on this series, I'm not comfortable with people saying that she raped him. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was honestly a little bit shocked that that was the conversation that people were having, because I was like, was it? And I'm always open to considering different perspectives, but I just didn't see that one in that way. So that's episode 6. I will be back to review episode 7. And I will see you guys soon. Be sure to follow, subscribe, share, drop down the comments. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Keep it cute. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.